Have you ever wondered why society often expects men to be strong, stoic, and emotionally suppressed? It's an intriguing question, isn't it? For centuries, the blueprint of masculinity has been shaped and reshaped, creating a mold that can often seem as rigid as iron. It's a mold that values strength, not just of body, but of mind and character. Stoicism, too, is held in high regard. A stoic man, after all, is a rock in the storm, unyielding and unflinching. And then there's emotional suppression, a trait often mistaken for emotional control, but in truth it's about concealing feelings, denying their existence altogether. These traits, these expectations, they're not just societal norms, they're enshrined in our culture, our history, our very identities. But let's pause for a moment to ponder. These expectations, while deeply ingrained, can often lead to feelings of inadequacy and pressure among men. Imagine living in a pressure cooker, where the heat is the societal expectations of masculinity. A pressure cooker, a fitting metaphor for the prevailing concept of masculinity, where men are constantly under the boiling heat of societal norms and expectations. This pressure is omnipresent, from the way men are supposed to dress to the way they're expected to behave, and even to the way they're supposed to feel, or rather, not feel. This idea of masculinity often equates to an image of strength and stoicism, a figure that is unyielding, unflappable, and unemotional. It's a tall order, a constant uphill battle to live up to these standards, and the pressure can be overwhelming. It's like being in a constant tug of war, a war where the only victory is conformity, and the defeat is the feeling of inadequacy. The burden of these expectations doesn't just weigh on a man's shoulders, it seeps into his psyche, affects his mental health, and strains his personal relationships. The fear of appearing weak or vulnerable can lead to emotional suppression, creating a barrier between him and his ability to express himself freely. It's a vicious cycle, one that can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. This pressure cooker of masculinity can take a toll on a man's mental well-being. Men are human, after all. They feel, they hurt, they love, they fear, just like everyone else. The expectation to bury these feelings, to put on a brave face, can lead to stress, anxiety, and in extreme cases, even depression. But what if we told you it's okay to let the steam out? It's okay to defy these standards if they do not resonate with you. It's okay to be vulnerable, to be emotional, to seek help when needed, because at the end of the day, your masculinity is not defined by society's norms, but by your own terms. The pressure to conform can be suffocating, but remember, it's okay to let the steam out. The cost of wearing the mask of traditional masculinity can be high. It's a toll that's often paid with a man's mental and physical health, personal relationships, and overall quality of life. Carrying the weight of traditional masculinity, expectations of strength, stoicism, and emotional suppression can be a heavy burden. This burden can manifest as stress, leading to a myriad of health issues. High blood pressure, heart disease, and other stress-related illnesses are more prevalent in men who feel compelled to adhere to these traditional norms. The mental health impact is significant too. Men are often taught to suppress their emotions, to be the unshakable rock in the face of adversity. This emotional stoicism can lead to feelings of isolation, depression, and anxiety. In fact, studies have shown that men who conform to traditional masculinity norms are less likely to seek help for mental health issues. Personal relationships can also suffer under the weight of traditional masculinity. Men may feel the need to maintain a facade of strength and control, often at the expense of genuine connection and emotional intimacy. This can lead to strained relationships with partners, children, friends, and colleagues. The overall quality of life can be drastically affected as well. The pressure to conform can limit men's experiences, narrowing their world to what's considered traditionally masculine. They might shy away from activities or experiences they might enjoy, simply because they're not perceived as manly. Feelings of inadequacy can lead to harmful behaviors. Some men may resort to substance abuse or other risky behaviors to cope with these feelings. Others might become overly aggressive or controlling, trying to assert their masculinity in harmful ways. The price of maintaining this facade can be steep, but it doesn't have to be this way. It's important to remember that masculinity is not a one-size-fits-all concept. Each man is unique, and there's no right or wrong way to be a man. It's high time we redefine what it means to be a man for the sake of our health, our relationships, and our quality of life. What if we told you that it's possible to break free from these traditional notions of masculinity? Imagine a world where men are not bound by the shackles of societal expectations, where the definition of masculinity isn't set in stone, but is fluid and ever-changing. It's time to challenge these expectations, to stand up and say, no, this is not who I am. This is not who I want to be. It's time to redefine what masculinity means to you. It's time to break the mold. Strength doesn't always have to be physical. Emotional strength, the ability to face one's feelings, to express them openly and honestly, is a sign of true courage. Who said that tears are a sign of weakness? They are a testament to your strength, your humanity. In a world that tells men to hide their feelings, to suppress their emotions, we say no more. It's time to embrace vulnerability. It's time to let go of the fear of judgment, of ridicule. It's time to share your emotions, your worries, your fears. It's time to let the world see the real you, not the mask that society expects you to wear. Self-care isn't just for women. It's not a sign of weakness, but a sign of self-respect. It's about taking care of your mind, your body, your soul. It's about acknowledging that you, too, need care, need rest, need love. To all the men out there, remember this. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't have to hide your feelings. You don't have to conform to society's expectations. You don't have to fit into a mold. You're not alone. You're not weak. You're not less of a man for being vulnerable, for taking care of yourself, for expressing your emotions. And so, we say this to you. Break the mold, redefine masculinity, be true to yourself. Remember, being a man is not about fitting into a mold, but about being true to oneself. You are not alone in this journey of redefining masculinity. Let those words sink in for a moment, because they're absolutely true. We're all in this together, navigating the grand labyrinth of life. And it's okay to feel lost sometimes. It's okay to feel like the pressures of traditional masculinity are weighing you down. It's okay to not be okay. But here's the thing. You don't have to go through this alone. There's a sea of support out there waiting for you, ready to lend a helping hand. Reach out and grab it, talk to someone. It could be a trusted friend, a family member, a therapist, or even a supportive online community. Remember, seeking help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It takes courage to acknowledge your vulnerabilities and seek assistance. Building supportive relationships is another crucial piece of the puzzle. Surround yourself with people who understand you, who uplift you, who celebrate your individuality. The people who love you for who you are, not who society expects you to be. These relationships can become your safe harbor, a place where you can express your feelings without fear of judgment. It's also important to remember that you're not defined by anyone else's expectations. You're not just a cog in the machine of traditional masculinity. You're a unique individual with your own strengths and weaknesses, your own dreams and fears. You are more than just a man. You're a human being deserving of love, respect and understanding. So don't let the pressures of society dictate who you should be. Don't let the fear of not meeting traditional expectations of masculinity hold you back. Forge your own path. Define your own version of what it means to be a man. And remember, it's okay to stumble. It's okay to fall. What matters is that you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward, because you are more than the expectations placed on you. You are enough, just as you are. To wrap it all up, we've traversed the landscape of traditional masculinity, a realm often riddled with expectations of strength, stoicism, and emotional suppression. It's a pressure cooker, one that many men find themselves in, sometimes leading to feelings of inadequacy if they can't meet these lofty standards. The impact of such pressures can be profound, affecting mental health, relationships, and overall well-being. But it's important to remember there's no one-size-fits-all definition of masculinity. We've explored the possibility of breaking the mold, redefining what it means to be a man in today's world. This involves casting aside outdated stereotypes and embracing a more nuanced, individualistic approach. Reassurance and support are crucial in this journey. It's about understanding that it's perfectly okay to defy expectations, to be vulnerable, to express emotions. Remember, it's okay to defy expectations and embrace your unique version of masculinity.